Hello and welcome to the 8th and final round of the ATCC Season 5 and the final ever race on Race 07 hosted by TPS.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome to the final round of the ATCC, especially the final round of the ATCC on Race 07. This is the last ever race the TPS will host on Race 07. The series, the sim even, where it all started. And in fact, it is a series where it all started in ATCC back in September 2009 at a wet Mosport. Yourself was driving. Keith Barrick took both wins. That was a long time ago. We're at the end of Season 5 now. And this season will end as the ATCC broadcast started, as Ryan Callan alone in the booth tonight. Alone. I am lonely. But I'm sure everyone will cope without me. We can do without Toby Davis's dulcet tones. It's all the better for it, I'm pretty sure. So, on to the action here. And in-game at the moment, you can see that Simon Kilo and Jack Keithley are heading up the standings there, two BMWs with the VR and Lauritsen BMWs just in behind. We are fancying, though, the Alphas to be pretty quick here tonight. And, of course, it's the Alpha that Miguel Neto is in. Miguel Neto, there he is. He's in 6th place at the moment. These guys only came into the server only a few minutes ago, so they've not done their hot-to-trot laps, as it were, yet. They've not done the ultimate lap, and Miguel Neto there clearly not doing an ultimate lap at that particular corner, because way off in the gravel he went. And of course, Miguel Neto needs to get 2 wins, one would imagine, tonight, for him to claim his maiden ATCC crown. He was 3rd, in fact 4th, sorry, in Season 3. He was 2nd last year in Season 4, and it looks like, the way things are going so far this season, that it will be another bridesmaid season for Miguel Neto. But of course, fingers crossed for him, fingers crossed also for the drivers who are going for the title alongside him. Those are Jack Keithley and Simon Kilo. Jack has a 22-point lead at the top of the ATCC table going into this event. He has a 34-point lead on Miguel Neto, which means the gap between Neto and Kilo is 12. Those are the key numbers. 22 back to Kilo, 34 back to Miguel Neto. Now, it might seem like quite a few points, but there are 2 races here tonight, of course. And, of course, there are 2 races, which means there's 104 points available. So there is plenty of things to happen here, and plenty of things that can go wrong and will go wrong, and you know, possibly are definitely going to go wrong. And of course, Jack Keithley is one of the drivers who is not in a position to drop any scores. We have dropped scores in ATCC, which means that your worst two results of the season get deducted from your points tally. Jack Keithley did not race at Birmingham because of a power cut in the first race. He didn't score any points, of course, so he lost those two scores. Those two scores, 0. If he scores 0 today, in every of these races, he has nothing to fall back on, so he has no margin for error. Miguel Nato, in fact, has the best of the drop scores. He's dropping 67 points in total. So if he drops one of these, if he doesn't, gets a really bad result in this first race, he will still score quite heavily, in fact. So that's something to bear in mind. Kilo has a drop score of 36, so not quite as good as Nato, but much better than Keithley. So it's finely poised, it really is. With Keithley is leading by, obviously, the most points, but has no drop scores, with Kilo in the middle of the drop scores, and Nato at the back of the points tally, but the highest drop score. So look out for that in the coming races, if there are any mishaps, of course. And Jack Keithley, one of those drivers who is hoping there is not. He is now manager, of course, of the much publicised Precision Touring Cars stable. They've come across from just racing FSR and Formula 1 leagues, and Keithley's heading up their Precision Motorsport Touring Cars outfit, and joining him in that is Mr. Simon Kilo, who joined him at the KW Speedway, and Alexander Lauritsen, in fact, in his third team of the ATCC season, Walk Racing he raced for, of course, at the start of the season. They went to Twister for a couple of rounds, and now he's with Precision, so he's much travelled, is Alexander. One could almost call him, one could almost call him the word I've forgotten the word. Anyway, well-travelled, I think we'll leave it at. Francisco Villar has had his share of problems this season, had lots of bad luck in the races, missed the first race, missed the last two events because of a clash with one of the other cars. He has finally resolved that, which is great to see, and this is the track where he got his first Touring Pro Series win, and which he got his last Touring Pro Series win at, in fact, back at the start of Season 4. So Francisco Villar is very hungry indeed for a win in the TPS. Ooh, a bit of carnage ahead of him there. One of the Alphas, looks like maybe Bill Kaiser. I think that is number 28, Bill Kaiser, in the default liveried Alpha. So Francisco Villar looking for a good result here. And any good result he gets, of course, will help Miguel Nato. As his teammate, there we are, you see the same kind of livery, Miguel Nato in the Alfa Romeo. Very, very good in straight line. We saw this at Watkins Glen, where, of course, we saw a couple of wins for the Alfa Romeo. So, hopefully, Nato can stop that BMW domination here today. But, of course, the odds are stacked against him. If the BMWs are good in the first race, of course, they start further back in the second race. But then, of course, it's a standing start, and they get a good start anyway. So, it's a bit of a hiding to nothing there for the Alfa drivers and everyone around him. We got Hugo Gonçalves and Andrew Ricardo also helping out in Alphas. In fact, there's a whole army of Portuguese drivers trying to stop Precision Motorsport from getting the title. Of course, they've got two there, Kilo and Keithley. So the stage is set for Kilo, Keithley and Lauritsen versus Villar, Caedo, Gonçalves, Nato and Amaral. Of course, Duarte Lopez as well. And also Domingos Vaz, who looks like he's managed to get his livery for this particular event, and a very nice livery it is as well, thanks to Robert Wiesenmuller for providing that. Robert Wiesenmuller himself will be driving in this particular race, and that will be his first drive of the season. In fact, if I remember correctly, the first drive ever in the ATCC, so looking forward to Robert competing in his THR Green Alpha alongside, of course, his teammates, Ivan Navarro. There he is. Unfortunately, Vinicius Ferreira here today. I thought he wasn't going to be here today, but there he is. You can see him. He's had plenty of good results here today, and Ivan Navarro has been improving lots and lots this season so far as well. Another Portuguese driver there, Diogo Lopez. So lots of ammunition for the Portugal drivers to fight the Precision drivers with here today, and looking forward to two cracking races. 2 minutes to go until qualifying. I'm going to stick my neck out and say that Francisco Villar will get pole position for this particular event. If you're unaware of what happens in these events, you've not watched ATCC before, you're just drawn in by it. We have two races today. There are two races of 10 laps for the second race. Sorry, I should start this at the start of the beginning, shouldn't I? For the first race, there is a qualifying session to determine the grid. The second race grid is determined by the race 1 results. However, the top 8 drivers are reversed on that particular grid. So if you finish in 8th in the first race, you start from pole in the second race, and vice versa. The rest of the grid is ordered as before. So here we are, about to go into this qualifying session. While we wait for the qualifying session to start, plenty of the drivers out on track at the moment, as you can see. Ethan Bass, Jonathan Ockerclint, Darius Swiderski, Dennis Phelan, Andrew Beranek as well. So we've got a full complement here really today. David Jones also there as well. A couple of fun facts for you about the ATCC in the past 5 seasons. The most experienced driver in the ATCC would have been Keith Berwick, if it was not for his indiscretions this season so far. But, in fact, it would be Rhys Gardner. Rhys Gardner has competed in 69 races in the ATCC alone. So, and he's one of the founding fathers almost of course, of this particular series. And here he is on track moment, finding for you. There he is, number 14. He's got a red and green Clio. He's got someone sharing his pit box. But there he is in his XSG Vectra. And of course, you say he's a founding father of this series, Rhys Gardner, but in fact, he didn't actually manage to get to the grid of the first race. The old Australian internet died on him, and he missed the very first race at Mosport. And one of the drivers who didn't miss the very first race at Mosport was Keith Barrick, who has raced in 64 races. And so has Paul Wood. In fact, Keith Barrick has 7 wins, of course, also in ATCC, in the ATCC history. And he also has 7 wins, along with 1 championship to his name, won 4 races in Season 1. Won 4 races in Season 1. And he's got 7 race wins overall. Season 1 where he was champion, of course. And Season 2, where he was so unlucky, had a couple of these things, a couple of issues. And Vincent Khan picked up all the pieces and put together a very solid season indeed. Took 2 wins. He's only 2 wins, in fact, in the ATCC. And took the championship in Season 2, almost from other people's noses. Just being consistent. That's all it takes sometimes, just to go and make sure you get the results day in, race in, race out, day in, day out, of course, as well. So, most wins in the ATCC, I hear you ask. Well, in fact, it's a tie between Tolborg and Stoffel van Dorn. Jesper Tolborg has taken 9 wins over 2 seasons, and of course, he took 6 wins en route to his Season 3 championship. But Van Dorn has to go down as the most successful ATCC driver for 9 wins in just 1 season in the ATCC. As we're about to go into qualifying here now. And here, of course, he took the Season 4 title as well, despite missing the first race and having to start the second race from a second event, should I say, from server 2. So that shows how much hard work will get you up towards the front of the field in the Touring Pro Series. Other notable drivers who've got wins, of course, VR has 7 himself, 6 in Season 3 also. So when he was really on fire and competed with both Barrick and Tolborg for that title. And Keithley himself has 6 wins this season, so we could see him surpass both VR and Barrick in this particular event if he takes 2 wins here today. And also Adam Vaughan has 4 race wins, all from Season 1. In fact, many people felt he could have won Season 1 were it not for absences and general mishaps. So into qualifying for you guys now, and we'll just try and get somebody on track. I'll shut up a few seconds while we ride on board with them. Here we are, Diogo Lopez, Alfa Romeo, hard modding team. Has had a mediocre season, I would feel, from Diogo Lopez's standards, apart from that standout performance at the Hungaroring. But he's done pretty well apart from that. We'll go on board with him once he starts his hot lap and just let you enjoy the race. Here he is on track. 9th, of course, in that practice session, but many of the Portuguese drivers joined very late indeed. In fact, about 15 minutes ago, just before this broadcast actually started. In fact, just before the trailer ended that you were watching. So these guys have not shown their full pace yet. They've been obviously keeping it pretty secret. And Wiesmuller gets back into the game also. And I hope he's not having too many problems. He seems to be dipping in and out at the moment, but hopefully he can qualify and take part in this particular event. So, Diogo Lopez, this is a very, very fast track for those who don't know it. Very, very long straights on it. Long straight down the start-finish straight. And then a couple of right-handers, fast right-handers they are as well, onto another very, very long straight, into a very hard braking zone. And then around this back section, which is very sweeping. Lots of stuff is off camber, then on camber. It's all very difficult indeed. And of course, this is a very, very fast corner also as well. And you go down another long straight it through a flat-out kink also. And then through... It It's called a straight, but it's hardly straight, to be honest, as you'll see in a few seconds' time. We should go on board with Diogo Lopez. Here's a bit of a straight bit, but then it bends that way and then bends the other way, and it can make it very difficult to try and attack and pass down here because obviously the car naturally wants to go to the right-hand side there. And of course it's easy to defend down that side as a result, and easy to clip the rear right quarter of the driver you're following as a result. Another fast section up here over the brow here. You can't really see the apex very much, and you can't see the exit also. You have to kind of trust. And this is a very, very difficult corner, especially for front-wheel drive cars, which are obviously braking on the curve, on the curve, should I say, on an angle. And Diogo Lopez there showing us he goes wide into the grass. It's incredibly easy to do. But now, up this start-finish straight he comes, and let's just enjoy this lap. And as Diogo Lopez finishes, the lap's a 19.4 from Diogo there, so that's a decent lap. It looked like it was a tidy lap indeed, apart from maybe that final corner. But there we see all the hot shots will be out on track right now, because it does take a full, of course, 2 minutes 20 to get around this particular track, which means you have to set off from the pits with at least 4.5 minutes on the clock to get your obviously your out lap and your hot lap in. But Simon Kilo is half a second up on Diogo Lopez. That is to be expected, of course. He was over a second faster than Diogo Lopez in that first session, but Francisco Villar has gone with an 18.208. That was as quick as anything we'd seen so far. Simon Kilo's engine is smoking as he goes up over the line. Looks like it's about to die, but Kilo, I'm seen drivers take that line through there. Maybe it's the quickest line, but it's not quick enough for Simon Kilo. 18.654. So Simon Kilo, 18.654. Where is Jack Keithley? Here is Jack Keithley. He's coming around now towards the penultimate corner. This is the final corner here. Gets the car nicely set in. Just needs a nice solid lap here. We got Lawrence in there in third as well, so second and third for position. Well, Miguel Neto slotting. We'll jump with him. He's fourth. There goes Miguel Neto. Goes into fourth place. Of course, it's difficult to get every lap in here because they're so long. Everyone goes out all at the same time. Jack Keithley across the line now, and it's going to be an 18.295. Oh, so close to Francisco Villar's pole time, but Francisco Villar looks like he has that pole position sewn up, unless there are some surprises further down the field. Who else is yet to go? Caiado is also usually very quick indeed. He's about to start his lap, so we'll stick around with him. Here now is Gonçalves. Chris Shepherd is out on track as well, as Navarro, and Wiesenmüller is going to finish his lap. So we'll go to Chris Shepherd in a second. Wiesenmüller going to go P12, pretty solid for him considering all the problems he's had so far. Not able to get settled yet. Chris Shepherd, though, is about to finish his particular lap. So Chris comes towards the line. And that lovely looking walk racing Seat Leon. Not using all the track there, it was unusual. And yes, it does seem like that is the fastest way up the hill. Everyone seems to be using it. Maybe got a small camber there. I'm not quite sure what that's about. Maybe it's less bumpy. But whatever it is, they seem to be going a bit more to that right-hand side. And it's 14th for Chris Shepherd. Not his finest lap. We saw Hugo Gonçalves jump up also as well. He went into P6. So, failing 18th, 19th Ockerclint, 20th at the moment is Berenek. Here is Kaido. He's out on track. So is Bass. And so is... No, Bill Kaz is not out on track, so he's decided not to go out at the moment. David Junt is not starting his lap yet either. In fact, he don't think he'll actually get the lap in. He's gone out far too late, and he'll start the lap with well under 2 minutes on the clock, but faster so far through the first sector. Andre Kaido, we talked about how much grunt that Alfa Romeo has, but this is the section where the Alfa Romeo can really struggle through these uphill traction zones and through these fast flowing corners. Let's watch what he can do. Andre Kaido, of course, has 2 wins in the ATCC to his name, both at Watkins Glen, and this is a very fast track, just like that particular venue. Around the long carousel. Number 34 Alpha just struggling for grip. Look at the tyres just scrabbling as he goes around there. And now Andre Kaido heading now down the back straight, down at Kettle Downs. Kettle Bottom, should I say. And what will be his split time? He's half a tenth down on his stablemate Francisco Villar. But he could beat Miguel Neto into that 5th place. He should slot in ahead of Hugo Gonçalves. If he doesn't, he'll be disappointed with himself. He used all of the track there. Great commitment there for Andre Kaido. Using the track right up to its limits, as you should. Bit narrow entering that particular corner, though. Looks like he didn't use all the track on the exit there. But now, just the final corner to go. And the cars get so sideways through there. The front-wheel drive cars do not like that corner at all. And his car also smoking as he goes up the straight now. Not going up that right-hand lane like everybody else seems to be doing so, but going pretty much straight. And Kaido, where will he slot in? It's 7th. He will be disappointed with himself after that. He was only half a second down on VR and ended up being 8 tenths down in the end behind Hugo Gonçalves, but there is plenty of backup right there. VR will have pole position, surely. We still have Ethan Bass out on track, of course, as well as Bill Kaiser stayed in the pits, but Ethan Bass should get his lap in. He's only 7 tenths down, in fact, so he's on a good run here. 7 tenths down would put him around about Kaido, in fact, but realistically he'll be looking to slot in ahead of at least Diogo Lopez. This could be a great qualifying performance from Ethan Bass after a couple of great results at Fighters Park this season, where he got his best ever ATCC results. Ethan Bass now around the final corner. See how much tighter a line the front-wheel drive cars tend to have to use to stop the car getting so sideways and so unstable. And Ethan Bass now driving towards the line in his SimSpeed Racing Honda. And what will it be? It will be a 19.598. What on earth happened in the final sector there for Ethan Bass? Whatever it was, it certainly wasn't quick enough. As we now go into the warm-up session, here is confirmation of that grid. It's Francisco Villar on pole position. Well done, Ryan, you predicted that one. Jack Keithley in 2nd place by less than a tenth of a second around this humongous circuit, and 2 minutes 18 of lapping. 3rd place, Simon Kilo. 4th place, Alexander Lauritsen. So 2nd, 3rd and 4th for precision. However, Miguel Neto is in 5th, so he's right behind the Precision Motorsports trio. Once again, he's behind them, though. That'll be hurting him quite a bit. If he's just gone just a couple of tenths quicker, he would have been in that 3rd place, but I'm sure that was pretty much the full potential of the Alpha in qualifying trim, at least. In race trim, it would be very different, with its ability to drag past cars on straights and also stay in that slipstream. 6th place, Hugo Gonçalves. 7th place, Andre Kaido. 8th place, Diogo Lopez, all backing up Miguel Neto to have a go at Precision. 9th place, Matthias Klein for Movigo Racing. 10th place, Pedro Amaral. 11th place, Ethan Bass. 12th place, Domingos Vath. 13th place, Duarte Lopez. 14th place, the founding father and the most experienced ATCC racer of all time is Reese Garner for xsimgear.com.au Motorsports. 15th place for Robert Wiesenmuller. Pretty solid for him on the, of course, he was very interrupted going into this qualifying session. 16th place for Chris Shepherd. 17th place for Ivan Navarro. 18th place for Darius Swiderski, 19th place for Vinicius Ferreira, 20th place for Dennis Phelan. He'll be quite happy with that, out-qualifying both Ockercliffe and Andrew Berenek, and Bill Kaiser decided not to set a lap time. Of course, David went out far too late, as we were saying. Well, as I was saying, should I say. There's no we about it at all, as I was saying. So, warm-up session has 3 minutes to go. It's time for the commentator's prediction. Commentator's prediction is that Francisco Villar will take the race win. Miguel Nato will finish third with Jack Keithley in second. Bold, I hear you say, bold. Anyway, 3 minutes to go. Francisco Villar gets that point for pole position. Well, 2 points, sorry, for pole position, which means there are only 102 points to pick up now for Jack Keithley and Miguel Nato and Simon Kilo, of course. So, as we wait for this session to continue, let's talk a little bit about the Tom Alonso Cole Clio Championship. Right now, actually, in fact, the pre-qualification is happening. Pre-qualification is underway as we speak in another server while this is going on. And it's going very well indeed. In fact, more than 50 drivers have set laps already. It's just at the start, should I say, of the second day of a 3-day event. So we should see plenty more drivers set some lap times, and we've seen record-breaking pace also from both Toby Davis and Simon Kilo at the front. So of course, the reigning champion is Toby Davis. In the Tom Alonso Cole Clio Championship, you may have heard of Tom Alonso Cole. He's a British touring car driver he's driving for Team Hard this year. Has many race wins in the British Touring Car Championship, and some say he perhaps should have won a championship when he was at Team Aon alongside Mr. Tom Chilton. But he didn't, and that's the way, of course, the cookie crumbles. But he is one of the premier drivers there, and they're teaming up with a very exciting project for Team Hard Racing with Tony Gillam. They're racing brand new Volkswagen Passat CCs this year. Looking forward to the start of that season. Less than a month to go for that particular championship. But the upshot of it is that we have a partnership with Team Hard and with Tom Alonso Cole, alongside with GamePod and Casio and Miltech Sports as well, who do Miltech exhausts. And we are offering the championship winner the chance to drive for real and test drive at Brands Hatch one of Tony Gillam's Volkswagen Racing Cup Golfs. Now, this is the one of the feeder series to the British Touring Car Championship, and it really is a chance for you to go from your race rig at home, sitting there, I don't know, eating pies, eating crisps, drinking beer, whatever else you do in front of your computer, things we can't mention on a family-friendly broadcast. You can go from that into a real race car just by racing on the computer. Of course, you could say, well, I've got no chance of doing that, I'm not a good enough driver. Well, if you take part, even if you're taking part in the second division, well, we call it second division, it's Group 2, really. The racing down there is no less fierce, I tell you. You will have the chance to win. You go into a draw if you compete at all the races, and you have the chance to win a GamePod racing rig, a special edition Tom Alonso Cole one of a kind, worth well over £1,500. That's €1,800, and I don't know how many dollars, $2,100, something like that, US. So that's a huge prize. As well as that, you can win a hospitality package to the WTCC with that means a money can't buy sort of thing. So you get to go on the grid. You get to go to the Team Hard garage. You get to meet the team, watch the race from the Team Hard garage, get lots of souvenirs and autographs and all that goes along with that. You can win Tom Alonso Cole merchandise. We can even win TouringProSeries merchandise. It's excellent stuff. And of course, we may be having plenty of other prizes set up throughout the season. So we're looking forward to that, and it should be a fantastic season. And as you can see, there are the dates on the calendar. If you can't quite see the dates there, go to TouringProSeries.com/VCS. Of course, the Tom Alonso Cole Clio used to be called the Virtual Clio Series until Tom Alonso Cole came along. So it's the VCS, that's where you go to, and you can view the calendar tab, and you can have a look at all that. You can also keep track of the pre-qualification that's happening right now by clicking on the pre-qualification button, funnily enough, and by clicking on the live time button, funnily enough, in the top bar on TouringProSeries.com. And don't forget, of course, to follow us on both Facebook, on either, all, in fact, would be nice. Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and look out for the Thomas O'Connell Clio Series trailer, which is coming out hopefully tomorrow if Ryan pulls his finger out. So we're about to go into the racing here, guys, and the guys are just forming up on the grid, and we'll get that keyed up for you now. Here it is. So we've got 10 laps ahead of you here. The first lap here is a formation lap, a manual formation lap for those who don't know. So when the lights go green in the first race, we do not go racing. We are just simply going round for a manual formation lap, rolling start, and drivers will accelerate once the leader accelerates at any time he likes out of the final corner. So that's what happens in this first race. So don't get excited when you see the lights go green. The second race you get excited because that's a standing start. In fact, I remember being on this very camera. I think it was in season, I think it was season 3 or season 4, can't quite remember which one it was. I think it was season 4 actually, in fact. Matthias Klein sitting exactly where Francisco VR was now in race 2, and poor Matthias completely fluffed his limes, and unfortunately he almost caused a big wrecking behind, but it was great amusement for us all in the end because Matthias took it very well, and everyone managed to avoid him as well. So looking for a great race here today. Francisco Vera, in fact, last time they raced here at Road America, took a race win, of course. That was almost 2 seasons ago. However, in the first race, he came into contact with Alexander Lauritsen while he was racing for the race win. So, will there be a grudge match going on? If VR's behind Lauritsen, will he get a bit tit for tat, that sort of thing? If VR's behind Keithley, will he give Keithley a bit of a tap, you know, to let Nato go through, to get endorsement, you know? Lots of drivers here have a couple of endorsements to spare on their license, so we could see a bit of dirty driving here, and I'm not condoning that sort of thing, or even suggesting that these kind of drivers would do it. They're all very, very fair, but this is love and war, and some can argue all is fair, and it's not a tickling contest. We all know that. It's not a tickling contest. It's not about letting your opponent win, getting whatever advantage you can. And some may say that they agree with the old NASCAR adage, that if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. But hopefully we see plenty of fair racing here today, which is one of those things just to put into the mixer, as it were. One of the intriguing little stories to see the field, lovely shot there as the field comes down the back straight. There is Francisco Vera. Here he is in the red, white and green. Jack Keithley is in the black and white. Sammy Kilo also the black and white, but has that yellow, fluorescent yellow trim, whereas we see Sammy Kilo in a bit more, Alexander Lauritsen in a bit more gaudy. There he is, just going over the brow of the hill now, in 4th place. Similar skin, but with red trim with green and white in general. Also got Miguel Nato there. He's in an Alfa Romeo. If you've not watched all the season, you may not be familiar with all of the colours of the cars. You've got Hugo Salvez. He is black and blue. You've got Diogo Lopez, the same skin, but he's more of a blue and white. So that's how you can differentiate, should I say, those two. We've got Andre Caiado, who's in the Alfa, which is quite a dark, in a dark Portuguese skin. We've got Pedro Amaral, who's in the Cruz, with a dark Portuguese skin. And then we can see in the background there, we've got Duarte Lopez in the black Alfa Romeo, and Domingos Vat, of course, in the more yellow Portuguese. So it's difficult to tell them apart sometimes, because we get confused ourselves in the broadcast, because there are so many of these Portuguese drivers. But that is a rundown for you right there. As you come around the carousel now, Duarte Lopez is in 13th on the grid. We Scarlett in 14th. Always see him, and there's Wiesenmuller in his green, white and black THR Alpha. THR going for their 4th title in a row in the Clio Series. They have always won the Clio Series. Anna Vaughan in Season 1, William Levesque himself in Season 2, 3rd season was Toby Davis. And much to my chagrin, in all 3 of those seasons, they've won all 3 championships in the Clio Series. And now down through Kettle Bottoms. It's very claustrophobic down there when you're side by side with somebody, actually. It seems much narrower, and it is quite a narrow piece of racetrack, really, actually. And there are no markings on the side of the roads, no curbs down there, so it can be a bit difficult. And down here, you can often miss your braking point and go wide. In fact, it's a very good area for sweeping around the outside with somebody if you've got this, a little bit more of the higher ground. So look out for that also. Oh, no, VR! No, VR! No! Oh, will he disconnect? That's crazy stuff. He's He's keeping going. He's keeping going. Hopefully that's just a momentary. Oh no, it's going to go again. Oh, it's working again. Oh, this is crazy stuff. Hopefully the drivers can see him, but we won't focus on him at the moment. I think maybe he's gone. That is maybe it. No, Francisco VR, after all the problems this season. Oh, there he is. He's come back again, and people have crashed into him, in fact. He's had so many issues here. But Jack Keithley is going to have to come away from the field in first place as the pole sitter. And Jack Keithley is going to come away from the grid. Poor Francisco VR has lost that pole position. And away for the penultimate race of the season we go. Jack Keithley is going to lead from Simon Kilo. He'll immediately defend. Look at that. It's 3 wide between Precision as Nato looks for a small gap. But Simon Kilo covers him off immediately. Now trying to go down the inside of Lauritsen. Who's that on the grass? That's Duarte Lopez. Has he made contact with anybody? I don't think he has. That is phenomenal if he has not. Lauritsen in second. Third place is Simon Kilo. Fourth place is Miguel Nato. Where is Francisco VR? He's not registering at all on the scoring, and he's not around at all. Poor Francisco VR has disconnected from this race, and that's a big, big loss, in fact, for Miguel Nato himself, who's got past. He's got past Simon. What's happened to Simon Kilo? He's way down the field. He's obviously been challenging Lauritsen. We're looking back at Francisco VR, and we've lost what's happened to Kilo. So he was challenging Lauritsen. Perhaps got a bit wide, perhaps diving too much. Oh, straight off the track! That's Jogo Lopez, I think. Jogo Lopez, yes, it was. Straight off the track. Who hit him? It's one of the Movie Racing cars, I think. That must have been Matthias Klein because Reggie Blaine's not able to be in this race. And Jogo Lopez is now rejoined at the back of the grid. So another one of the Portuguese recruits having a bad start to this race. There is Francisco VR once again stuck on track. We can see him. We can sort of see him. But Keithley is leading. He's got a 0.4 second of a gap to Lauritsen. But Nato needed VR to be there. He needed him to just hold him up a little bit while he catches up and gets in that slipstream. And Nato needs to get that slipstream right now. So as they come now down Kettle Bottoms, let's see if Nato can keep up. Because he's got Gonsalves behind him, Kaido and Klein. So he's got plenty of backing to him. And VR's out of the game, which means he's not going to be in second race either. That is a huge shame for Francisco VR, who's had no end of bad luck in the ATCC this season. It really has been absolutely terrible for him. In fact, he's had no end of bad luck since halfway through season 4. So really, things are not going well at all for the affable Portuguese driver. Keithley leads from Lauritsen. There's that signature Lauritsen wiggle under braking. He does like the cars to move around quite a bit. But of course now Lauritsen and Keithley are slipstreaming and leaving Nato for dead. And he does not need that at all. But Keithley going to cross the line now, and let's see what the gaps are. The gaps are 0.3 and 1.3. So Nato's gained a little bit, but now Lauritsen's right in the slipstream of Jack Keithley. And that's going to just push them both along even faster as they head into the very, very fast turn 1. Looking back now from Lauritsen at Miguel Nato. I've had no sound at all for the past lap. I do apologise for that, so apologies for all of that. Kilo apparently has come into contact with Ethan Bass at some point also. Ethan Bass back in 16th place, but now we have sound also. Apologise for that. Keithley, Lauritsen, Nato and Kaido is the top 4. And update from Francisco VR. And Francisco VR is unfortunately out of the race. Asking if he's still in the server. Unfortunately, he is not in the server as Lauritsen locks up the brakes into turn 3. And what is the gap back to Miguel Nato? It's still 1.3 seconds. Lauritsen is keeping very close attendance to Jack Keithley. And of course, even if Nato gets up to Lauritsen, he will put up a fight and not allow him at all to get close to Jack Keithley. He was leading the championship by 34 points, should I remind you. 34 points is the gap between Nato and Keithley. And right now, he's also losing 5. So he needs to be gaining those. In fact, he does need Jack Keithley to have a problem, really. He's having a problem in this race or the second race to have any chance at all of winning this championship. And so does Simon Kilo now, of course. Although he's raced back up to 7th place. And he's right behind Matthias Klein, who's in 6th. On board now with Simon Kilo. And Francisco VR saying, let the guys fight it out for themselves now. He was, of course, going to be helping as much as he could, but he's not able to, unfortunately, and that is a big, big blow. Nato's pretty much had a lone four up there all season long, and that really has hurt his bid for his ATCC title. He will be bemoaning his luck. Kilo looks like he's on the attack, getting right on with Matthias Klein through that section. and NATO's lost more time to the lead. He's 1.8 seconds down, as you can see from the timing below there. And WT is running very, very narrow in the corner there, right over the curbs. Into the pits already. Simon Kilo comes in, so he's deciding that I'm going to be held up here and get in as soon as I can. Gets the car just about slowed down. Lauritsen fastest lap of the race, so he's beaten Jack Keithley to that fastest lap of the race. And they are still... Oh, he's going to pass actually Jack Keithley. Let's get back to the front of the field. Lauritsen's gone past Jack Keithley, so Lauritsen leads. Lauritsen's gone past Jack Keithley into turn 2. So Lauritsen leading now from Keithley. Will this hold these couple of guys up? Has Lauritsen got so much more pace, they can pull away from Keithley and leave Keithley to defend for himself with NATO behind. This will be interesting indeed. Of course, NATO just keeps it nice and close. He may gain during the pit stop, so it is all not over yet at all. There is NATO. He can see the guys ahead. He'll be trying absolutely 110% to try and get up there. If he can try 110%, of course. I apologise for a tired old cliche there. Out of... It's effectively turn 3, but it's in fact turn 4. And up over the crest. Now this is where the Alfa Romeo can struggle. This is the back section where it struggles. Lots of uphill traction zones. The gap is 1.5 now. It shows that Lauritsen did hold up Keith a little bit, and also shows how fast the Alfa Romeo is in that first sector, where it's basically, of course, just a big straight. Now around this long right-hander. Carousel seems to go on for absolutely every. You have to kind of do a couple, or maybe even 3 apexes through there, under the bridge, and now through the flat-out kink. Not challenging these cars at all, but you still have to be aware. In other cars it can be extremely dangerous. Just ask Catherine Ledger, for example, in the IndyCars, who had a humongous crash there, and several of the drivers have had huge crashes at that particular point of the racetrack, as he's closing on Keithley and Lauritsen through that section. 1.1 second is now the gap, and maybe he can sniff a slipstream. He can sniff that slipstream, and if you just keep this gap a little bit the same through this next section. It's so difficult through there for the front-wheel drive cars, you can see, and again through this final section. But he may be able to just get a slipstream going on to the straight on that second lap. But Keithley's going into the pits. Keithley into the pits. He decides to cut his losses. Not going to try and help NATO at all. So Keithley into the pits, and now NATO keeping that right side line also as well. I wonder if it's just less bumpy down that side, because lots of people are using it. Kaido is also gaining Lauritsen in that section there. So NATO and Kaido gaining. As you see, Jack Keithley, there he is in the pits. Lots of people in the pits. Of course, it is lap 4, and there's only 10 laps, so it's not surprising, really. Everyone pitting between lap 4 and 6. You would expect Kilo, of course, was a little bit unexpected, but not to be completely unexpected. With only being a 10-lap race, only 7 laps on the same tyres, on a track that's not particularly hard on its tyres, because it has such long straights for it to be able to cool off. If you're wondering about the collisions in the pits, there are people driving through each other. The collisions in the pits in Race 7 are turned off. And where is Simon Kilo in relevance to Jack Keithley? He may be a lot closer, you know. In fact, there is Keithley just exiting the pits now. There's Berenek. There's Keithley. It says on the timing that Kilo is ahead of Keithley, but it's not the case. And there is Kilo and Keithley. That is a big gain, in fact, I think, for Kilo. That is perhaps a couple of seconds gain for Kilo. So that's really helped his championship hopes. If he can get ahead of Keithley and take points of him, he really is in with a shout at this championship. That's great driving from Kilo, and great pit strategy as well. Let's get back to the front of the field. Here is Lauritsen, and there is NATO. He's right behind Lauritsen. I wonder if Lauritsen's slowing down a little bit to allow NATO to get near, but that's not Lauritsen's style. And of course, this will be helping NATO right now. He's going to get a slipstream now from Lauritsen down this back straight, and expect them to dive into the pits together. Let's go on board with NATO. And those 220s that Lauritsen is doing is definitely not fast enough at all, but it's certainly not backing up into NATO. NATO's not quite catching him. Maybe Lauritsen's gone for a very aggressive race 1 setup once again. He tends to do this a lot goes for a very aggressive race 1 setup, completely drops away and then fixes it for race 2. One wonders why he doesn't just fix it for race 1 in the first place, but both of them are going into the pits now. This is a crucial pit stop, and you have to get this braking zone exactly right. Nato a little bit more careful on the brakes than perhaps Kilo and Lauritsen were. Who's not going into the pits? I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Apologies for the mouse there. Wiesenmüller is going to the pits. Is Frere coming in? He is, yes. Junt, will he come in? He usually stays out a bit longer, but no, this time he's coming in on lap 5. It's end of lap 5, it says lap 6 up there because the leaders just crossed the line, but it's end of lap 5, and of course 5 laps to go as a result. Kaiser in also, and will Berenek pit? If Berenek pits, that means the entire field will be cleansed in the pits. Yes, indeed it is the case. So here is Keighley, and here is Kilo. That's 2.2 second gap, it's certainly more than that, when Kilo went off the track and went into the pits in 7th place earlier. So Keithley is crossing the line now. Where will he go past Lauritsen? Kilo fastest lap of the race. There he goes past Kaido, and here is Nato and Lauritsen, and they're duking it out, and around the outside goes Keithley. It's great stuff. Lauritsen's back to second. Nato could not find a way past Lauritsen, but here we are. This is right on right now. All 4 of the fastest drivers on track are together, and Nato, he needs a good exit from here. He's not quite got it. Lauritsen's got the power down in that BMW, and now he'll be zoning in on Jack Keithley. Of course, Lauritsen passed him earlier on, and now Lauritsen has 1 lap fresher tyres. Kilo is the one who is lagging behind with 2 laps older tyres and a 2-second gap to make up on Jack Keithley. But of course, if these 3 get together at all, or in any way at all, just race each other in fact, Kilo will be right by there. Will be right there, even. Get my words out straight, it's so exciting. Kaido is just 3 seconds behind as well, so he's not out of this race at all either. So 3 seconds covering the top 5 guys at the moment. Not much particular overtaking action at the moment, but this is very intriguing indeed. And there's Keithley, he's leading from Lauritsen, and he's leading from Miguel Nato, number 43. Nato comes around the carousel. This is the guy we're focusing on. He's the pursuing, he's the hunter. And again, for the 6th time, they go through Kettle Downs. He needs to get ahead of Keithley. He needs to get ahead of Keithley. He needs to get ahead of Keithley and allow and hope that Keithley has a problem in race 2. That is the only way he's going to be able to win this championship. There are 104 points on offer, of course, in this particular event, but the points go down pretty far, and the gaps are not very much in between. In fact, Keith himself is only pulling out 5 points in this particular race if it stays as it is. But again, Lauritsen right in the slipstream of Jack Keithley, as you can see, and he's gaining. Will he make a move into turn 1 and turn 2 like he did earlier in the race? Looks like he's looking threatening right up behind. Just inching ever closer. Keithley's made a small mistake there. He's got to wiggle on, but he's managed to keep the momentum around the corner. Nato is looking at this battle, hoping for a bit of a move from Lauritsen. That will slow them both up by a couple of tenths. And there is Lauritsen right in behind, on board with him, looking at Keithley. Keithley, 6 wins this season, leads the championship. Nato, he's just hoping and praying that Lauritsen makes a move and allows him to get closer to this battle. Looks like Lauritsen's pulled out, decided not to go for it that time. And Kilo, after that scintillating pace earlier, is not really making much impression on the guys ahead of him. 1.6 seconds, still the gap between him and Nato. Kaido has lost a little bit of ground to both Kilo and the leaders between these 3. Nato definitely closer to that section. There's been a bit of a mistake somewhere from both of those drivers, I think. Very slow indeed, and definitely Nato is probably half a second now behind Keithley. So that's at least 0.3 of a second gain through that section. It's great stuff through here. Nato's really got the magnets on. He wants to win this race. He wants to win this title so badly. Suffered the loss of his father during season 4 and got a great result at Vitus Park as a result of that. But of course, racing has no sentiment. 0.8 is still the gap. 1 second, in fact, is a gap through there. It doesn't look like 1 second. As they break into Canada corner and out of it once again. This is a section once again where the Alpha really struggles. It loses that couple of tenths that it needs to just hold and then get the power down the straight. Kilo is trying his darnest to keep up also as well, and Kaido also. It's an intriguing battle at the moment. They're all driving as fast as they can. They're all on the very limit of adhesion. It may not look that way, but it very, very much is the case. Lauritsen right in behind Keithley once again. Last time we saw this at Road America, Lauritsen was the guy who hit Francisco VR off. Hopefully we won't see a repeat of that. Well, there would be recriminations in Precision Motorsports if that happened. And Lauritsen's looking very fast indeed. He's right behind Jack Keithley. He's not going to make a move there. Maybe he won't make a move. Maybe just kind of pushing Keithley around the track, not allowing NATO to get any slipstream at all. The gap is 1.2 seconds, so NATO's completely lost that slipstream, and he needs it back. He needs it back. He needs Lauritsen to have a go. Otherwise, I don't think there's any way he can get close to the back of Jack Keithley. It's lap 8 of 10. There's 2.5 laps to go. Look at that car squirming around. The Lauritsen trait. Again, the back of Keithley's car looking a little bit loose. Doesn't look the most settled of cars. He's handling it well at the moment, and NATO's losing more and more time, in fact, while these two just use the draft and pull away. Well, while that's going on, let's look back through the field. There is Klein. He's in 7th place. He's had a good race, actually, Matthias Klein. 8th place, Duarte Lopez. Of course, he did have a bit of a tangle with Diogo Lopez earlier. 8th place, Duarte Lopez. 9th place is Pedro Amaral. 10th place, Domingos Vaz. Sorry for not focusing very much on the races back here, but it doesn't like much has been happening, quite frankly. And of course, the championship battle is very important. It's been the final race of the season. There's Navarro, who's been pursued very closely by Diogo Lopez. Let's see if there's a move at the end of Kettlebottom into Canada corner here from Diogo Lopez. Fighting back from that hit that sent him right back to the back of the field. Ethan Bass has had a problem, and he's right to the back of the field once again himself. So maybe that's a bit of a drive-through or a crash or something. Nobody knows. He's not a lap down. He's just a whole minute down, of course, on the leaders. And Diogo Lopez is not going to make a move down here. Here's Reece Gardner. His 70th ATCC race. 15th place is Jonathan Ockercliffe. Here comes Darius Swiderski down the inside of Vinicius Ferreira. It's close. There's contact through there. A little bit of a contact through Canada corner. But Vinicius Ferreira has to yield in the end. So Swiderski goes up into 16th place. 18th place is David Junt. 19th place is Bill Kaiser. He's having a good race with Dennis Phelan at the moment. And Andrew Bernick lonely, as is Ethan Bass as well. There is Ethan Bass going through the kink. But Kaiser and Phelan in a big battle here. Number 28 and number 7, I believe, Dennis Phelan. That's just off the top of my head, so I apologise if I've got that wrong. We'll see it on his window in a second. It's number 6, sorry, should I say. So I was almost there, Dennis. I apologise. But here it comes. Dennis right in the back of his good friend Bill Kaiser. Oh, almost contact through the final corner. Now he's going to drag him down the straight. What's happening at the front of the field? Still Keithley leading from Lauritsen and NATO, as you can see. But look at that Alpha pull away and a straight line away from that Honda. Look at that big gap. It's almost like Dennis Phelan missed a shift. We know he didn't, of course. It's pretty difficult to do that. But look at the Alpha pull away from the Honda in a straight line. They were so close going out the final corner. And now Kaiser's pulled away once again. It was so frustrating as a driver as Phelan's car wiggles around also, trying to get closer and closer to Kaiser's Alpha. But of course, through this next section, we'll see Kaiser pull away once again. And Phelan's gone deep also as well, trying to compensate for that particular attribute of the Honda. Back to the front of the field. It's the penultimate lap. Keithley still leads from Lauritsen. NATO is still third. His dream is not over, but it's being extinguished as we speak. In fact, the battle behind is for 4th place. Kilo, of course, pitted early, and that's hurting quite a lot. He's had to fight back through the field and has tried very hard indeed. He's had the fastest lap of the race so far, but he's fighting and jousting very hard indeed with Andrew Crido for 4th place. Kelly's going to try and do the cutback and have a go at the BMW as they come up towards the penultimate corner. This will be a very big move indeed. He won't do it through there. that is not the place to be around the outside. It's a place just to pressure the driver and slow him up. Kilo just holding on to the back of that car, but looks like Kaido, looks like he's got the speed. Let's look back at Kaido now, and here comes the Alpha. Bit of a slipstream, and also a slight speed advantage in the straight line. Of course, Kilo's on the inside. They're starting their final lap. Lawrence is not challenging Jack Keithley for that race win at the moment. And Kilo goes deep, trying to defend. Kaido trying his desperately to get back and cut back. It's not happened though. He has to get a good exit from here to have a chance of getting past Kilo into turn 3, of course. But he doesn't look like he's done that. He's got understeery and loose also at the same time, and Kaido won't get past Kilo. It's pretty sure he won't down this section. Gonçalves is also keeping watching brief on this particular battle. If anything happens ahead of him, he'll be right there. But Amaral and Vath are very close. Dwight Lopez, I think, has made a small mistake over the last couple of laps. 1.1 seconds was a gap over the finish line. Certainly not that now. And Amaral and Vath are very close behind. Let's get back to the front of the field, though. There's half a lap to go. Jack Keithley, will he increase his lead at the top of the championship? He has a 22-point lead over Kilo, which he will gain by 7 points, if my memory serves me correctly, over 7 Kilo. But Kilo has the fast lap, so just 6 points. It'll be a 28-point lead going into race 2, and he'll have a 34-point lead. He'll have a 39-point lead over Miguel Neto with just 51 points on offer in that race. He'll have a 28 and a 39-point lead going into race 2 if he holds on for the win here, which looks like he will very much do so. So will Lauritsen make a move at all? I think it's very, very unlikely. And we could be looking at a champion-elect right here. This could be sealing the deal. Not been delivered yet, but it's certainly been written. And the wax has been melted and printed onto the envelope, because Jack Keithley is going to open up a big lead going into race 2. And there is his 7th win of the season. Jack Keithley wins for Precision Motorsports from Lauritsen and from Nato. Nato is in 3rd. He's crossed the line in that 3rd place. Kilo just about held off Kaido for that 4th place. 5th place to Kaido. 6th place to Gonçalves. 7th place to Matthias Klein. Here comes Duarte Lopez. He's in 8th. 9th place for Pedro Amaral. 10th place for Domingos Vath. 11th place for Robert Wiesenmuller. He'll be pretty happy with that. Pretty solid run from him. 12th place from Diogo Lopez. That's a good recovery drive for him from himself. 13th place for Reese Gardner. 14th place for Ivan Navarro. 15th place is going to be Vinicius Ferreira. So he's held off Swiderski in the end, who crossed the line in 16th place. 17th will be David Jones. In fact, he was in 18th earlier, so who have we lost? Let's have a look. We'll see as we come across the line. Jones is now 17th. He's moved ahead of whoever was in 18th place. It may have been Ockerlint, in fact. His car looked pretty damaged there. And here comes the battle between Kaiser and Phelan. And it looks like Kaiser will claim that 19th place. And Phelan would take the final points paying position also. So who we lost? Ethan Bassett in 21st and crossed the line there. Oh, in 22nd is Andrew Berenek. So Berenek's dropped down the field also. And 23rd. No, not in the game, of course. We lost 2 drivers from that particular race. But race 2 is coming up pretty shortly, so stick around. So, welcome back to the ATCC, and race 2 is about to happen now. Here is a standing start, and Duarte Lopez's 8th position means he got the pole position for race 2, and there he is. And there's a lineup of cars just waiting a minute or so before the drivers go out on track. So race 1 saw Jack Keithley. He won that race, and that means he's got a big lead in the championship, 28 points over Simon Kilo. And all he has to do... Oh, we've lost Rhys Gardner also as well for the final ever race of Race 07 in the TPS. We've lost Rhys Gardner. He has disconnected from the game. So his legacy of 70 races comes to an end on Race 07 in the ATCC. And that is a big, big shame. But he will have the consolation of knowing he will always be the driver who raced the most races in the ATCC on Race 07 over the Touring Pro Series career. 28-point lead in the ATCC means that Jack Keithley, he just needs to score, of course, 23 points. He will win, of course, on the tiebreak, which is the number of race wins. So he has to score 23 points, which means he only has to finish in 13th or better in this particular race. So look out for that. 7 wins for the season he has taken. And away from the grid they go, and it's a good start there from, it looks like Jack Keithley. Oh, it's Simon Kilo. Simon Kilo with a great start to the race. He's shot right through, and the Alphas are ganging up. They're squeezing them all against the pit wall. Laurison's coming through in the end. Laurison's the one who's managed to thread the needle through all of that chaos. And Gonçalves and Duarte Lopez did their absolute darndest to stop them getting through. But here comes Kilo and Laurison, and Jack Keithley is into third himself. He's already 3 places ahead of Miguel Neto as they go around the first couple of corners. Gonçalves runs a bit wide, and he's under threat now from Alexander Laurison as a result. Down the straight they come, and Laurison's got a good run, but now here comes the Alphas. Good straight line speed, the drag of the Alpha really helping it down into turn 3. He's managed to regain that loss of momentum, and will have the inside into turn 3. Just needs to brake in a normal way, and he will retain that position as Laurison. Carl wiggling once again and squirming as he goes through there. Laurison's got the overlap though. Will he have enough to go in his corner? No, he won't. He tucks back in. Here comes Nato. Nato down the inside of Kilo. Nato down the inside of Kilo. Will he make it stick? He has made it stick. There's contact. Oh, it's sideways. There's background. There goes Vath. He's in the gravel. Vath is in the gravel. And Vath is going to be out of this race, I'm pretty sure, right at the back of the field anyway. A cloud of dust and a spinning yellow Portuguese BMW, and Vath's final race in ATCC is not going to end well at all. Nato, though, is past Kilo, and also, of course, Kaido went past. A forceful move from Nato. Looks like a very fair move from the camera we saw it from, so that is good news for Nato at least. We've still got 2 places to make up on Jack Keithley, of course. Doesn't matter what happens to Nato at the moment. It's all about where Jack Keithley finishes. If Jack finishes anywhere inside the top 13, he will win this championship, and that's all is out there for. Laurison is challenging Gonçalves into Canadian corner. Canada corner, should I say. The corner is indeed not Canadian. Now there's the cutback. Beautiful cutback from Laurison. That was absolutely superb. There is not a better example in this world of performing a cutback at a right angle corner. It's a beautiful move there from Alexander Laurison, and he leads. Gonçalves is now back in second. He's under threat from Keithley, and Duarte Lopez is right behind Keithley. How badly does Duarte Lopez want Miguel Neto to win this championship? That is the question. It's better to push him off later than early. As they now come to turn 1, look at the ground Gonçalves has made up on Laurison. Down that straight, it's incredible how fast the Alpha is in the slipstream. If we had VR holding the guys up a little bit at the front of the field in the first race and allowing Nato to get a bit of a slipstream, who knows what could have happened. Of course, that's all in the past now. What matters is here and now, Gonçalves is in second place, holding off Keithley and Duarte Lopez and Miguel Neto. I'm pretty sure if Neto gets up to Duarte Lopez, there won't be too much of an argument. Still, pit stops to come, of course. Still, 8.5 laps to go. Oh, and Laurison, I thought it was going to be a big mistake there. He got round wide, but of course he's saved by the fact there's so much tarmac on the outside. He really locked up those tyres. Looked like a very strange action from the car, actually. And Simon Kilo is still back in 7th place. he of course needs to get past Jack Keithley and hope Jack Keithley doesn't finish anywhere near the top 13. Of course, it's Miguel Nato needs Jack Keithley to finish way outside the top 13. He has a 39-point lead on Miguel Nato, and if Nato wins the race and gets fastest lap, he needs Jack Keithley to finish no better than 23rd place. And considering I don't think there are in fact even 23 drivers in this race, there's 21 because he lost a couple of drivers in between races. That means that I don't think Miguel Nato can win the race as long as Jack Keithley finishes 8 of the laps. If Jack Keithley finishes 8 of these laps, he will be champion regardless. Nato won't be champion, should we say. If he finishes 8 of these laps, Miguel Nato cannot be champion. Drivers have scored once they've completed 75% of the race distance, and of course, 75% of the race distance closer to that is 8 laps of the 10. That's how that's worked out. But Keithley, Gonçalves and Lauritsen are pulling away from Lopez and Miguel Nato. Not like Miguel Nato's catching up at all at the moment. And Kaido has, shall we say, company with Simon Kilo. But look at the Alpha. It's got such a good straight line performance. And that is not allowing Kilo to gain that much in the slipstream. But here he comes now a little bit. There should be more of a slipstream, of course. And then he's just going to pull out and the slipstream's going to end. He's not going to gain much more than that. And to the outside he goes. He's braking really, really late. And he's going to go around the outside. It's not going to work through there. He needs to be less forceful than that. And Kaido just holds off Simon Kilo. Poor Francisco Villa watching from the sidelines here as his teammates continue on. And to quote Murray Walker, Francisco Villa has all the luck and it's all bad. He will be cheering on his teammates here, hoping for some kind of miracle, I'm sure. Matthias Klein there, he's in 9th place. He's lost places from the start of the race, of course. He started in 2nd, so I'm not sure what happened here. We missed it all in the melee of the precision guys fighting, and I think Kilo just went past Kaido then actually, and broke too late and went straight on, and Kaido was able to do the cutbacks. I saw a swap of positions just out of the corner of Meyer. Lauritsen a 2:18.987. That's faster than he was going in the first race. He was doing 2:20s by lap 5. We'll see what he does in the next couple of laps, of course. As Wiesel in 11th place, a bit lonely. Doga Lopez is fighting to try and keep up with Klein and Amaral for 8th place. Navarro though in 12th. Swiderski's in 13th, that's a decent start to the race. 14th place is Vinicius Ferreira. 15th place is Ethan Basser, he's made progress. 16th place is David Young. 17th place is Jonathan Ockerclint. And 18th place is Domingos Vath. We saw him in the gravel in the opening lap. Obviously managed to get out pretty quickly and is now ahead of Bill Kaiser and Dennis Phelan and Andrew Berenek. We're having a little private race at the back of the field at the moment. Not quite sure what's happened to them, but Berenek's car looks not particularly healthy at the moment and not doing particularly well for Team Kamikaze right now, but still keeping going. That's the aim of the game. Back to the front of the field. Lauritsen is getting a big gap now from Gonçalves, and Gonçalves has Keithley right behind him. Of course, Keithley doesn't need to get involved, just needs to sit there right behind Gonçalves and use Gonçalves' draft and just pull away from the guys behind, which he has been doing as he peels into the pits, and Nato peels into the pits also. And so here comes Simon Kilo and Pedro Amaral, and there's Diogo Lopez. Everyone headed to the pits, look. Lap 4. We saw plenty of drivers do this on lap 4 in the first race. Not quite so many this time around, I would hazard to say. As the field goes streaming by now. Go back to the battle at the front of the field. And Salvez, 0.9 of a second behind Alexander Lauritsen. If anything happens to Lauritsen, then Salvez could get his first Touring Pro Series win. Of course, we saw early in the season, Hungaroring, Diogo Lopez got his first Touring Pro Series win on the road, but it was cruelly taken away from him, unfortunately, because of too many track boundary infringements and handed to Jack Keithley. And those sorts of results where Jack Keithley has kept his nose clean and been rewarded for it, because of course it's only fair to reward drivers who keep within the stipulated rules and not reward those who decide to push those rules just a little bit too far. And calling them cheats, of course, that's completely too far. But those drivers who stick to the rules and don't get rewarded are not going to be feeling very generous in the future and would feel unfairly treated by. So Keithley, by sticking to the rules, and he took both of the wins at Hungaroring, and that's really helped him in this championship. So it shows you don't have to push the rules to win a championship, especially on TPS. We will enforce the rule pretty well, and Gonçalves' car looked very slow through that particular corner. Around the carousel he comes. Maybe just a trick of the eye, but it didn't look particularly fast as it wallowed on its front right through there. Any battles on track at the moment? We've got THR Duo, 7th and 8th, should I say, Navarro and Ferreira. Ferreira's got Ethan Bass for very close company, who's got Swiderski for close company, who's two SimSpeed Racing teammates. Oh, and Ethan Bass go very wide out of that corner. It's an unusual place to go wide, actually, out of the carousel. Usually it's a bit earlier you do that. Has it come through the kink? Swiderski now, of course, has the magnets on the back of Ethan Bass as a result. It's a great shot as they pile it into Canada corner. Cars dipping on their suspension. Cars sliding out of the corner. It's great to see. And now back to the leader. Will he pit? He is pitting. There we are. They're already in the pit lane as I said it. Gonçalves is in. Lopez has not pit. Duarte Lopez carries on. So Duarte Lopez leads this race. Duarte Lopez will lead a lap of the final race in race 7 for the TPS. Anybody else not coming in? It looks like we saw somebody go past there. Was it Wiesenmüller? It was Wiesenmüller. Wiesenmüller went past. So Wiesenmüller is lying second. Junter's not pitted early this time around. He's in third. Lauritsen, here he is. He's in fourth place. Where will he come out in relevance to Jack Keithley? Look out for Jack Keithley on the right hand side there. He should come across the brow any moment now. There he is. Oh, what a prediction from Ryan Callan. And here he comes at full chat, of course, as Lauritsen's got to get up to speed, but he should have enough of a gap. It looks like Lauritsen is getting away. And Gonçalves, here he comes. Oh, down the inside. That's dangerous stuff. Gonçalves tried to defend from Keithley, but Keithley's shot down the inside. That could be a huge accident. And Keithley's up to second. He's got ahead of Hugo Gonçalves. What can Gonçalves do? Lauritsen still leads. Kilo's got ahead of Nato in all of that. Kilo has got ahead of Miguel Nato. And that's not good news for Miguel Nato in the slightest. So Nato has lost out. Gonçalves has also lost out. So not good for the Alphas. What can Gonçalves do though? Can he pressure Kilo into Keithley into a mistake? Not often you manage to do that, but look at Lauritsen's car moving around. Oh, it's squeezing right out wide. Great racing there, and Nato's got past Kilo. What a great pass! Nato past Kilo into turn 3. Great pass there from Nato, and now he can push on and perhaps get another podium in this excellent season he's had. Of course, his title hopes hang by a thread now. All Keithley has to do is keep going for another 5 laps in the kind of position he's in right now, and he will win this championship. He'll win his 3rd TPS championship. In fact, his 2nd in a row. He won the WSS season, season 1, World Superdeck Series season 1, an R-Factor with the DTM mod. He won season 3 just a couple of months ago, after a dominating season where drivers got close but couldn't quite get close enough. And now he looks on course for another Touring Pro Series championship. That'll make it 3, and is only one of a driver who's won more than that, and that is Jesper Torborg. So we're looking at the champion-elect. Into the pits has come Duarte Lopez and Wiesenmüller. And of course David Yunt as well. There you can see him. Venezia Racing, teamed up with Optimum this season. He's going to be driving for Walk Racing in the upcoming... Oh, which championship is that? I've forgotten which one it is. He's going to drive for Walk Racing in one of the championships. I forget, I lose track at the moment. We've got 4 championships starting pretty soon. He'll be driving, of course, for THR in the Virtual V8 Supercars Championship. And that's very interesting indeed. He's going to be teamed up with William Levesque. And of course, Yunt has always been a solid finisher, and a solid finisher in championships. And looking forward to that. And here's Cayado and Kilo, very, very close indeed. Kind of come around. And where has Nato gone? Nato's disappeared. Nato back in 10th place. What's happened to him? Nato's gone way back. Oh, what's happened there? That's crazy stuff. I think maybe Kilo and Nato got together, because Kilo is now back in the clutches, of course, of Cayado. And as a result of that, these two are now battling, and Nato's back in 10th place. Oh, it's a disaster for Miguel Nato, and it's fair to say his championship is completely over now. He will not score 39 points from there, and he will not see Jack Keithley not score any points at all either. NATO's dream championship is over. It started the season so well, led the championship for several rounds, but now it seems to be slipping away from him. Kilo is not ahead of Andre Caio, and under massive pressure from Duarte Lopes, and he may feel the wrath here of the Portuguese drivers as they gang up on him for what they may perceive as contact between him and Kilo. They were racing closely, of course. I'm not saying there was definite contact. Might have actually been NATO hitting Kilo. You never know in these sort of things. But either way, it's not going well. What a drift from Duarte Lopes, number 2. Black, green and red Portuguese car. That Alpha was completely sideways through the carousel, and he still managed to keep his car pretty much going very, very fast indeed, and right behind Simon Kilo. In fact, his car's all over the place going through the kink as well, so clearly Duarte Lopes' car is pretty free, and it's spectacular to watch as we see Jack Keithy has pulled away from Gonçalves just ever so slightly, just a few car lengths, and of course that's all it needs, and Lauritsen leads by 1.7 seconds from him. It could be another Precision Motorsports win in this season of ATCC. Caio, though, is going to have to fight off Simon Kilo for that 4th place. 4th and 6th. And of course, a bit further back, we've got a battle between Klein and Pedro Amaral. Klein's right behind Pedro Amaral coming down the straight, and of course Klein has that straight line speed right in behind the Cruz. Diogo Lopes is having a good race as well. He's up to 9th place. Of course, he had a tangle with Klein in that first race, so maybe a bit of a revenge here. Lopes has been in trouble before with this particular track, coming into contact with Gary Lennon and being removed from Season 4. A blight on his particular record in the TPS. Oh, he almost got squeezed in the grass there by his own teammate as they're side by side. Amaral's going right around the outside of Klein, and he's going to hold on to that position. And now here comes Lopes. He's got the inside line, of course, of Klein down the straight into turn 3, and that means Lopes is surely going to go past. Looking back now from Pedro Amaral at the battling duo, and Lopes has got past with a little bit of help from his friends. Great race, and they all go far too deep, and Lopes none of it take advantage of the fact, because he was obviously keying his braking off. Pedro Amaral almost contact there as well, and Lopes had to get out of turning in a little bit there, and that meant Clyde almost got up the inside. But that's good racing from all of them, and it's allowing NATO also to gain as well. There's 2 seconds back of these guys, and now 1.3 seconds back, so look out for that. Great racing from all these guys. Look back to this battle between Caio, Kilo and Lopes. Look at Lopes' car through the carousel. That's spectacular to watch. Really is very, very entertaining indeed. I'm enjoying watching that. He's not helped in this time around. He's lost quite a few car lengths out of that particular corner. Look how much it hurts you all the way along this long, long, long flat out section under the trees down towards Canada Corner. Back with this battle, Amaral from Lopes, and NATO is gaining in the background. It's 0.9 of a second behind Matthias Klein now, so look out for a 4-car battle here. Oh, and Klein has hit Lopes again! He's hit Lopes again! Oh, Matthias Klein, he sees the position, but of course that means Lopes loses position to Miguel Neto. That's a big, big shame. Klein obviously does not like whatever's on the back of Diogo Lopes' car. Let's try and have a look, see if we can see what's on the back of Diogo Lopes' car, because whatever it is, Klein doesn't like it. It's clearly a sign on there that he wants to dent and not have to read for the rest of the race. Either way, Lopes has lost out once again, and Lopes, who has fought so hard to get that 8th position, is now back to 9th. Of course, it has penalised Klein as well. It's also lost a position, but some would say entirely deserved, entirely his own fault. But this is a great battle here. Here is Ethan Bass and Ivan Navarro, and the Honda is struggling to get a slipstream from the Alpha, going down into turn 1. There's Bass on the right-hand side, and he's through. He's through. It's a good pass there from Ethan Bass. A good pass from Ethan Bass. That's could be my new catchphrase. But Navarro, should I say, is now back down to that 13th position, as you can see. Just 20 runners at the moment. We lost Chris Shepard in that first race. We lost Vinicius Ferrer throughout in this second race also. I'm not sure what happened to him. And we lost, of course, Francisco Villa and Rhys Garner from Rhys Garner in between the races, and Francisco Villa, unfortunately, on the formation lap. Very, very unfortunate indeed. But Navarro right in behind Ethan Bass. Oh, and Navarro's going to make a mistake. And here comes Domingos Bass to try and... his pin between Ethan Bass and Domingos Bass. So, Domingos Bass going to make the path. Perhaps. So, let's see if he does make the path down into this back section. Navarro a little bit defensive through there. Will Bass pull out? He does not pull out. He does pull out a little bit, but decides not to go for it. Difficult to place the pass down there. The braking, the retardation of the car is not particularly high, and it's downhill as well, so easy to misjudge. But Vath is right in behind Ivan Navarro. You see how the track narrows through here, and how the trees overhead just create even more claustrophobia as you go through that. I think Ivan seems to have sorted his acts out here at the moment. Oh no, I've said that too soon. He's obviously made a mistake on the exit of Canada corner, but no room for Vath to go past. That's a corner where the front-wheel drive cars struggle so much, under braking and under traction also. Vath now has a slipstream. What can he do with it? Look back from him, from Navarro. At him, of course. Front of the field still, Lauritsen leads, 1.5 seconds from a good salvo, 3.6 in third place. Would be a great result for him, he'd be very pleased with that. And Kaido and Kilo are very close indeed. That's Vath. Oh, goes down the inside of Navarro, and off goes Navarro into the boonies. Poor Ivan Navarro. Didn't look like it was particularly Vath's fault. Looked like it was a heavy, unusual collision there. And Ockerlins went to the inside of Navarro there, as Navarro tried to go to the inside to avoid him also. And Ockerlins has hit the wall, quite hard in fact actually, but carries on and gets past Ivan. But a bit of a bath there from Domingos Vath. He bathed Ivan Navarro off the track. Anyway, I'll stop with these. It's a Bass pass and a Vath path. Anyway, Navarro not helping being the... Oh! Ockerlins not giving any room at all there to Ivan Navarro. Navarro was very kind to him, and Ockerlins decided not to be kind back. And Ockerlins going to go too deep here. Almost... Oh! Just got the car stopped. Almost contact between Ivan Navarro and Ockerlins. Very heated here. Ivan Navarro's blood will be boiling after that particular escapade into the gravel. Not sure he enjoyed his picnic from his driving so far afterwards. Certainly not helped his relaxation. Let's go back to the fight for fourth place. Kaido and Kilo was a bit further back than I thought he was, in fact, actually. Maybe Amaral and NATO are close to each other. Indeed they are. Looking back from Amaral at Miguel NATO. And of course, Miguel's dream of being ATCC champion is now officially over. Jack Keithley will be classified in this race and will score points. That means Miguel NATO cannot make up enough points to take the title away from Jack Keithley. Jack Keithley just needs to finish this next lap and he will be confirmed as the ATCC champion, with Sammy Kilo in second place, Miguel NATO in third. We will follow Jack Keithley around the final lap here and talk about his excellent route to the title. We'll just quickly watch Kilo and Kaido. Round the outside's gone Kilo. Kaido's left plenty of room for him. That's very kind driving indeed, very sporting, very fair. Beautiful stuff. And this time Kaido goes down the inside of Kilo. Kilo tries to do the cutback. Oh, not quite able to do so. They're very close indeed. The menacing BMW in behind Andre Kaido. Simon Kilo trying to get through. The winner of the race looks like it's going to be Alexander Lauritsen, as he does his signature brake action into turn 3. He likes to do that quite a lot. But Lauritsen is going to win this race. Jack Keithley, though, is going to be the ATCC champion for Season 5, joining names such as Keith Barrick, Vincent Kahn, Jesper Torborg and Stoffel van Dorne. Really has been a tremendous season from the young Englishman. Lauritsen himself is looking for his third win of the season, his third win in the TPS also. Jack Keithley's already won 7 in this season and countless more in previous seasons. In fact, he's second on the all-time list of winners in the Touring Pro Series, behind to the great Jesper Torborg. Jack has had a wonderful season, consistent throughout, as we say, 7 wins. Even managed to be able to not even race at Birmingham Motorsports Park and take this championship win, which is a truly excellent feat, despite the fact, of course, it was not penalised in the end for that. It meant he had no margin for error. He has responded to the challenge of new teammates, to the challenge of the Alphas, to the challenge of the mod, to the challenge of waking up in the middle of the night and racing, and he's responding magnificently. Jack Keithley is going to be the American Touring Car Championship title winner for Season 5. Jack Keithley is going to flash his lights as he comes now towards the finish line. Gonçalves is going to go, well, no sentimentality there, I'm not going to stay behind you. I want that second place. And Jack Keithley is going to win, slowly but surely, the ATCC Championship Season 5. And finish on the podium, in fact. He's going to finish in 5th place in the end. He allows Kaido and Killer to go through, just coasted across the line. He enjoyed his result as AI cars crashed in behind. But Jack Keithley, he is the winner of the Season 5 Championship. There goes Nato through. A valiant effort from Miguel Nato, but not enough in the end. He will be gutted, I'm sure, after this. Hopefully we can get a word with him and get a word on this championship. But there ends the last race ever on Race 07 with the Touring Pro Series. We've seen a couple of ends of eras in the past for a few months. World Touring Masters with its final event in the with the Touring Masters mod, and now ATCC with its final ever race in Race 07. So these are truly momentous times indeed. Lawrence with the win, Gonçalves 2nd, Kaido 3rd, Kilo in 4th place, Keithley in 5th, Tuatha Lopez in 6th, Amaral 7th, 8th place Miguel Nato, 9th place Diogo Lopez, Klein in 10th, Wiesemuller 11th, Bass, Vath, Junt, Swiderski, Ockerklint, Ivan Navarro, Bill Kaiser, and I think also, of course, we'll see that Andrew Berenek and Dennis Phelan will complete the top 20. Indeed they do. Dennis Phelan beating his teammate to that 19th place. We'll be right back in just a few moments' time as we will speak to the drivers.
It's more than a feeling, we're building a dream that we've always had clear in our sight. Watch it ignite as we open our eyes, the one way we know to survive. We're powerfully changing the world, we're reclaiming our unity, they can't divide. They pushed us around, but we're tearing it down, we're having the time of our lives. It's gonna get louder. We're gonna get stronger. We're gonna feel better. You can't tame this energy inside. I gotta reach higher. I wanna burn like a fire. We gotta move faster. You can't tame this energy inside.
Inside SimRacing.tv, the fastest show on the internet. Sim racing news and reviews since 2007, with new shows every week.
Hello and welcome back to the ATCC, and that is the end of Race 07 on Touring Pro Series, and it was a good end as well, I have to say. And of course we have a new championship winner as a result, and that championship winner is Jack Keithley. Congratulations to you, Jack. How does it feel?
Feels excellent, you know. I mean, I came to the races with, of course, the lead, but I was never trying to go overexcited. I was going to go away with the title win. I'm just thinking like I'll just do my best and just take it easy because I've got a lot more to lose than the other championship guys. And yeah, commiserations to Simon. You know, he was biffed and bashed around quite a bit, so unlucky to him. But yeah, I was very, very pleased.
Of course, taking it easy for most people will be finishing, I don't know, 15th, 10th. Taking it easy for you was winning the first race, Jack.
No, I mean Alex was quicker. I did say to him like at one point he could go past, but he chose not to. So he's playing a good team game there.
He did indeed look very, very fast, and that was him just refusing to go past, was it? It was just acknowledging the fact that he needed the points, whatever. But if he had gone past, it wouldn't really have affected you too much in the championship, of course. So I was a bit surprised he did decide not to, but of course, playing the team game, and hopefully he'll be hoping that comes back to give him some gratitude in the end. I mean, you've taken part in ATCC Season 5. Of course, you'll have watched previous seasons. What's been your favourite moment of Season 5 yourself?
Okay.
We've had 7 wins
now, which I don't like thinking.
One of those?
Favourite moment? I would probably say Vitters Park, because I was just like when I was behind Simon and Alex, I was just staying behind them and just thinking I'll get him up the pit stops. And no, sorry, it was race 2. I'm thinking of like when I was catching up to Simon and Alex really quickly, and I was setting fastest laps with like 4 or 5 laps to go, and I was even surprised myself then.
So that was your own performance was the most pleasing part of that.
Well, as a standout moment, anyway, to be honest, there's been more annoying things happen this season, like
what's your
me getting hit off early on the season. Then? Also, me having countless problems with braking, and because these brakes on these are quite not the best, to be honest.
Well, what was the most annoying part for you this season then? What's the least favourite moment? Since you seem to have more of those. Amazingly enough, as a championship winner, racing drivers are never happy.
Least favourite, I would say Watkins Glen when Simon hit me.
Oh yes, and now he's your teammate. How's that going?
Oh, it's going alright. I mean, yeah, at the time, I was quite mad about it, but now
no, not at all.
We forget about it.
From the private messages at all. And for those viewers, Jack had a right good moment, but he's all worked out in the end, of course. So we all saw each other's point of view. So congratulations to you, Jack, and congratulations on a fantastic season. And hopefully, of course, in all TPS races to come, of course, you're going to be completing the Tom Cole Clio Series alongside your new teammate Jeffrey Rietveld and all the Danes as well. And for Precision Motorsports, wish you luck in all of that. So thank you for racing for us, and congratulations once again.
Thank you very much, and yes, that Tom Cole Clio Series is definitely going to be something to watch.
Yes, no doubt about that, and I'm hoping that I'm not too far away from the front myself. Reese Gardner. I'm going to have a word with the eloquent Reese Gardner. Always love to hear his voice in the broadcast, don't we, guys? And Reese, you are the most experienced driver in the ATCC ever. 70 races you did. You would have liked to do your 71st, of course, but unfortunately you missed out. I mean, we've talked to you before about this season. It's been pretty unlucky for you in general, and you've not been particularly pleased with your performance. But thinking back over the years of the ATCC, I mean, what made it so special for you?
I think it was the family atmosphere, especially in the first few seasons, and the sheer competitiveness of it. Because for the first time, I'd found a group of racers that I could race with regularly, and I could, almost be proper friends with. And it's been a good ride so far, I think.
And I can tell everyone now what Reese's favourite moment will be in the ATCC. But Reese, pray tell.
Vitus last season. Definitely Vitus last season. It came completely out of left field, and it was a fantastic result for me.
And how exciting was that race?
And it was fun watching the broadcast back, watching you guys screaming at me getting place.
And I'm guessing the 2 pole positions will come a close second and third on that particular highlight list.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, Watkins Glen has always been very good to me, especially in this sim in these cars. And I didn't turn it into a good result both times, but it was pretty good, pretty good.
And your worst moment in TPS that wasn't a disconnection, I guess.
Every time I had a disconnection.
No, you can't say that one. You have to say something else.
Okay. Can I say just this season as a whole?
Well, that's a terrible thing to say. You're so negative, Reese.
So. I don't know.
Flipping at Adelaide in season 4 while leading.
That was bad. That was really bad. I suppose I could count that.
Okay, we'll go with that one.
Or being taken out of pole position at Watkins Glen by contact both times.
Oh, of course, yeah, that's very true. We're side by side with NATO. I think you were in season 3, correct? Or season 4, one of the 2 seasons. Yeah. That was yes. Me. Remember that one? Yeah, yes, that's very true. Well, thank you, Reese.
It was terrible.
Reese Gardner, the most experienced driver in ATCC history. I'm going to speak
Thank you very much.
No problem at all. I'm going to speak to Ethan Bass now as well. Ethan, in Reese Gardner terms, you're pretty new to the. I'm hoping he's here because there we go. Ethan, compared in Reese Gardner terms, you're a bit of a newbie, really. But you've done 2 full seasons now in ATCC. I mean, how have they gone for you?
I actually kind of like this season more than season 3.
Why was that?
Because I felt I had to work a lot more this time.
You had to work a lot more this time, but you got better results this time around than you did previously, so.
I would say that's possibly partly because some people aren't here. Maybe that's maybe it's a reason sometimes.
Maybe because your hard work has paid off, perhaps.
Yeah, I definitely have to say I was disappointed with the contact in race 1 because I had probably never gone.
Elaborate what happened in race 1 for us.
Around Road America ever in my entire life.
And elaborate what happened in race 1 because we didn't see that on the broadcast. We saw you way back, of course. We didn't see what happened.
Simon Kilo fell off at turn 2.
Yeah.
Or what I call turn 2 on this track. I saw him in his to come off. He rejoins. Myself, Pedro Amaral, a couple of cars go past him down the straight. Then I take the inside line into the braking point, so I don't touch anyone because I don't like braking behind people, directly behind people. And then after I turned into the corner, Simon Kilo mounts the inside curb and runs into the rear left of my car, half spinning me into the tire barrier and me losing my front clip.
So very unfortunate indeed. You've competed in several seasons in the ATCC. Favourite moment?
It's technically from Server 2, but I still think my pole from Watkins in Server 2 was fun.
What, from this season?
No, it was technically season 3. If I was to keep it to moments people would actually be able to watch in the broadcast.
No, it's fine. It doesn't matter whatever moment you like.
I did like my pole in Watkins beating the likes of Yves Leroux.
Okay, thank you, Ethan. We'll move on now to Danny Asbury. Danny's been a competitor and also a watcher of the ATCC over the years. Your favourite moment in ATCC history, Danny? That'd be interesting to know.
Favorite moment. Okay, so this is going to be season 3. Most of my answers are probably season 3 based, but in particular, it was Watkins Glen because I know that season I was like nowhere the first half of the championship. Then all of a sudden, I think round 4 Watkins Glen, I get some pace out of nowhere, and before you know it, I'm fighting for the lead. It was probably, now that I think about it,
wasn't that pace due to a certain?
I got set up. You're right. I got set up from who was Dragos Harbour. That's right. Dragos Harbour. He gave me a setup, and I figured out how to drive a car that weekend. It was great. I mean, I was driving inside the podium. I remember my brother actually saw a bit of that race, and in particular, he was so blown away by Bjorn de Haas on the commentary of all people because of his voice. He's like, "Oh my goodness, dude, this guy, this is like real, man." He's like, "How'd you even get in this league?" Okay, so I just remember that race. That one really sticks out to me. Kind of, I guess, the magnitude of
third place in race 2. That is.
Hey, and you know what? I look back. I actually watched that broadcast not too long ago, and I could have beat Francisco. I could have got him in the second.
You didn't. Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
I know. I can never beat Francisco.
You finished in second place at Sebring. Would that not rank a bit higher on your? Or is it just the moment when you kind of broke through that?
Exactly.
Resonates.
Exactly. And number two, at Sebring, you know, it really wasn't no battle. It was me and Francisco and like no one else in that race. But meanwhile, you know, at Watkins, I was fighting Keith. I was fighting Francisco, and there's another guy. I'm forgetting his name. But I was in the battle with at least 3 other cars.
And your worst moment in TPS history?
Yeah, again, back to season 3. This is at the start of that championship. And actually, there's a bit on, what is it, the season 4 highlight reel or something like that, where, season 3 trailer. I'm actually flipping at Road America, okay?
Oh, of course, yeah, well, you're in fact still on the trailer, in fact, for season 5, yeah. Right at the start.
I'm still on the trailer.
Where it comes in, for those who are watching, you'll see in the trailer in a few minutes' time, I guess.
Right.
You'll see it pop in the air. Yeah.
Worst moment I've ever had in touring. Well, maybe not the worst moment. I mean, I remember a certain reversing on the grid moment, but the second worst moment I've ever had in touring car racing.
We're not going to that, shall we not?
We're not going to that. But I was furious when I got taken out in that race, in that Road America race. But that was definitely the low point for me in ATCC.
And the best driver you've seen in ATCC?
That's a tough one. I mean, Francisco was my guy for the longest time, and then. The thing is, Stoffel-Van's doing it. I mean, just unbelievable from that dude. I mean, I drove the BMW for, 2.5 seasons pretty much. And what he could do in that car is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, I watched some of his laps. I still don't quite understand how he could go that fast. But he would be definitely the guy I would remember as the best driver. I mean, obviously I didn't drive this year, so I kind of didn't see what Keithley, brought to the table. But, obviously he's the champion now, so he's probably up there too.
And I was going to ask the least favourite driver, but that's a bit unfair to put it on there, so I'll not do that, Danny.
Thank you.
Thanks for your words, Danny, and of course you'll be watching one with... Sorry, Ethan?
Can I answer that question then?
No, you can't answer that question. You can be quiet. You've had your interview. Ivan Navarro. Ivan, you've been part of the league for 3 seasons now. Is that correct? 3 seasons. Yes, it is. Yeah. And of course, you've obviously administrated this league, and everyone's very grateful for you to that. And Ivan knows how difficult it is and how much time these things take up nowadays. And your favourite moment in ATCC could be administration-wise, or it could be a racing
oh no,
example.
It's definitely racing-wise. It's my top 10s at KW. That's definitely that would be definitely the highlight. I did have a podium in Division 2, which was good, but I think a top 10 in Division 1 is worth a bit more.
And throughout the season, Ivan, you've really improved as a driver. Actually, in fact, you've marched up through the ranks really. Well, from what I can see. I mean, what's been the basis of that?
I don't know. I think it's just more experience and, just getting more comfortable with the car. I also did change the brake pedal. I got a load cell now, and I think that's really helped my braking. So maybe a little bit of that. I think that did have something to do with it.
Everyone's so suspicious that you've applied administration hacks.
Well, then why am I down in 16th? I should be on the podium.
You should, Ivan. You need to get better ones. You need to come to me. See me after class.
I'm applying the hacks slowly so that they're not so obvious.
I see. Well, that's sneaky. Anyway, thank you, Ivan. And how did this event go for you, by the way? I glossed over that name. But how did this event go for you? I mean, you saw you have contact with VAF.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing because it actually made a race that wasn't going all that exciting other than being in the midfield a lot more entertaining in the end. I thought I had taken away the inside line, but apparently I left enough of an opening there for him to try to squeeze in, and it just didn't work out. I ended up in the sand. But once I got put off and went to the back, I had an excellent battle with my friend Jonathan Alkerklint, and we battled for 2 laps and had great fun. And I don't think either one of us was all that concerned about where we finished, so we just kind of were giving and taking a lot, and that was really good.
Okay, thanks, Ivan. One question I forgot to ask Reese Gardner, actually. Who's your who, in your opinion, has been the best ATCC driver?
In terms of sheer results and the time he was here, probably still Van Doorn. But Yeah, I mean, I
mean, if you want to make that broader, in terms of favourite driver, who would you go for then?
Favorite driver. I can't deal in absolutes when I'm talking about this. It's more of a group of drivers that are my favorites. I'd say it's a toss up between Stoffel van Doorn, Jesper Tolberg, and Francesco Villa.
Oh, I see. So not much love for Keith Barrick.
Oh, Keith Barrick? Yeah. He's definitely on my list. Oh yeah, Keith Barrick. What happened to him? Yeah. Yeah, they're definitely a group of favorite drivers in ATCC. All very skilled, all good racers, hard, fast, and clean, and yeah, they were able to get the best out of this sim.
Okay, thanks, Ray. Sorry, because you were the most experienced guy, I wanted to just quickly go back and ask you that. We've also got Miguel in the.
That I'm now used as a unit of measurement.
You are indeed. You're a gardener.
Indeed.
Miguel.
Yeah.
I'm glad to see you here in the interview. We want to get an interview for a while. Another season where not quite. It's a big commiserations to you because you tried so hard throughout the season. But what do you think was the difference? Do you think the BMWs were just too strong?
I don't know. The difference what cars were appears in all the tracks. So I think the BMWs was fastest than the four-wheel drive. But only in the KWS with Alphas we can do it fastest behind the BMWs. So I think the season was the best I could achieve.
And lots of great results throughout this season, and of course everyone knows how it's all gone for you. But you've raced in the ATCC for 3 seasons now. Season 3, Season 4 and Season 5, and taking a couple of wins, plenty of podiums, plenty of great results. I mean, what's your favourite moment in ATCC?
In the 3 seasons?
Yes.
I don't know. I have great moments here in all the seasons. I don't know, the first win I think in Watkins Glen in the Volvo XC60.
Yes, in the Volvo, of course. Yeah, I know that. And who's been who's been the driver you've looked up to the most?
Okay, several. Francisco was my partner, then was a quickest and a strong sim racer. Jack also, and Stoffel.
And Stoffel, of course, as well, yeah. And you had to say Francisco, else he would have fallen out with you. I don't believe you. I think Francisco's rubbish. I'm joking, Francisco. Please don't be mad at me. Thank you, Miguel, for that, and thank you to everyone for commentating, for interviewing today. And it's great to hear from all you guys. And we want to wrap it up now because also we carried on for quite a long time into that. But of course, it is the final race on Race 07 with the Touring Pro Series. And thank you to all the drivers across the seasons of ATCC over the past 5 seasons. Been at least 120 drivers in that time, and that's an incredible feat, and we look forward to you guys following us whatever we decide to do with the series in the future. For now, I'm saying goodbye. The next broadcast we have is on 22nd of March. It's a virtual mini challenge, the first race from there, and I'll be racing in that, and we'll also have a new team commentating on that. We'll have John Monroe and Bradley Vanian commentating on that, and Bradley doesn't even know yet, so if you're listening, Bradley, there you go, you know now. And they'll be doing a trial race for that particular event. Of course, the TOC Clio series will be starting up very soon, 27th of March, and then about 10 days after that, or 3 days after that, one of the two, I can't remember exactly, is the virtual V8 Supercars first race for that. Make sure to follow along on Facebook. You'll see all the news there, and you'll also, of course, be able to keep along with all the pre-qualification results from what is the ongoing Tommaso Cole Clio Series pre-qualification at the moment. People like Simon Kilo and Jack Keithley are racing in that, and you can see at the top of the leaderboard at the moment, very close to the top of the leaderboard. So, thank you to everyone for tonight. Thank you to the track makers, to Simbin, to all the mod makers, everybody like that, and good night, and God bless.